Alright, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, YAHAWAHSHI, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders that I learned this truth from, the men at GMS, and the brethren with the like-minded doctrine. I have an article here, and I'm not sure what the title, probably the best insults, cursing, and profane language from the Messiah, or something like that. I got a article here by ministrymatters.com, and it says, Jesus' best insults, but YAHAWAHSHI's best insults. So basically, this lesson is going to be about rude language that's talked about in the scriptures, and it's equivalent to what people call today as quote unquote curse words or profane language, which we're gonna get into the definition of that. What profane and curse mean. Well, I'll go ahead and get to that because we got the etymology already pulled up. And this is from the etymology dictionary, online dictionary, and it says profane. It says desecrate, treat holy things with irreverence, Salakia. So you're not giving reverence to holy things. It says unholy. You go down here, I got it it says right there, it says unholy. So that's what profane means. Basically, profane means unholy. Not giving reverence to holy things. We're gonna get that word desecrate. Desecrate means treat a sacred place or thing with violence, with violent disrespect, violate. So to treat a sacred place or thing with violent disrespect or to violate, that's what it means to profane, unholy. Pollute, defile. So that's what profane means. It's unholy basically. So we gonna get into what curse means. So profane is unholy, and now we're gonna get the definition of curse. It says curse, it says Salakia, late Old English. It says curse, a prayer that evil or harm befall one. Consignment of a person to an evil fate. So basically, it's basically a prayer of evil will towards someone. That's what a curse is. That's what a curse is. Praying evil will upon someone. So I don't think we need to get any more. That's basically self-explanatory. Of profane means unholy, and curses speaking ill will or praying ill will on someone, harm to someone. That's what a curse is. So we got the definition of that. Now we're gonna get into the article that these words that we use today, the Messiah, Hamashiach, YAHAWAHSHI, use equivalent words in his time. So we will get into this article, and it says anyone who says, that's where it starts. Anyone who says you fool will be in danger of the fire. So like it, anyone who says you fool will be in danger of the fire of hell. So says YAHAWAHSHI in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew's the 5th chapter and 22nd verse. He claims that words spoken in anger are the moral equivalent to murder. But in chapter 23, he's pretty angry at the religious leaders. And it says, "You blind fools," he shouts during a chapter long rant, Matthews 23 and 17. He calls them hypocrites, snakes, and vipers, everything, as the saying goes, but a son of God. We all know that insulting people is incompatible with Christian teaching. But yeah, but it says here Jesus actually did. I'm gonna say it, but YAHAWAHSHI actually did it quite a bit. Where are where are some of the best YAHAWAHSHI's best Salakia? Here are some of YAHAWAHSHI's best insults. But we're gonna so basically that's being hypocritical if you look at it, because he's saying that if you call someone a fool, you'll be in danger of hellfire. But they don't have the, they put a portion of that chapter. We're gonna go to the chapter, Matthew 5. They didn't give you the whole verse there, Matthew 5 and 22. We're gonna go to that chapter and read the whole, get the understanding of what was said there. Matthew 5 and 22. And it reads, "But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause," see, that's the point. Whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, which you're going to get in the definition of that word, shall be in danger of the council. So we don't, but whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. So if you say these words to your brother without a cause, that's what the point is. Without a cause, you are in danger of judgment. So we're gonna get into what Rakah means. So the word Rakah,
Strong's G 4469. Rakah. Rakah. Thayer's Lexicon, related entry. Racha. Racha.
so it's a Rakah, Raha, the Greek. So it says empty, or a senseless, empty-headed person. A term to reproach, a term of reproach used among the Jews in the time of Hamashiach. So basically, it's saying you're worthless. It says, got down here, thou worthless in the definition. So it's basically saying you're worthless, or you're a worthless person for no. You call your brother a worthless person for no reason without a cause. You know, basically that's um what is it? Defamation or something like that. Yeah, that's what it is. Defamation, being defamed. You know, the form of defamation. So you calling your brother worthless without a cause, that's what that verse is meaning. And we gonna get into what fool. It says you call your brother without a cause a fool. You'd be in danger of hellfire. So it says
Strong's G 3474. Moras. Moras.
it said morasso on Greek word. So it's right here. It says foolish. Bible outline of biblical use. Foolish, impious, godless. So basically, you call them wicked, impious. You get a definition of impious. Basically, calling your brother wicked without a cause.
impious,
Impious or impious. It says not showing respect or reverence, especially for a god. So it basically says godless, ungodly, unholy, basically wicked, unholy, sinful. You know, you call them fool, you call them sinful or wicked for no reason, or unholy for no reason. So that's what it means. You calling your brethren um wicked, or calling them useless. You calling your brethren useless or fool, useless or ungodly for no reason. You know, it's basically defamation. So that's what that verse means in Matthews 5:22, which they didn't include the whole verse there. You know, and also it goes into so that clears, that gets, you got the understanding there. It's not using those words. If you call someone a fool um without a cause. So you can call someone a fool if it's justified, or call someone unholy or wicked is justified if it's for a cause, or call someone worthless if it's for a cause, especially your brethren. We gotta get the understanding who's the brethren too. You can get the understanding who's the brethren from Matthew, Slakia, Romans, the ninth chapter, starting at the third to the fourth verse. You know, the brethren is the Israelites. And it also says, what the Messiah, Hamashiach, YAHAWAHSHI said, he said, that's in Matthew's, it said, whoever do the will of my father is my brother and my mother and my sister. So we gonna get that out of, we get to understanding who's the brethren. So basically it's talking about the church, the body. That's the brethren. So that's the brethren who's doing the work and the will of YAHAWAHSHI YAHAWAHSHI. So we get to understand that who's the brethren, who's being talked about here. So that's Matthew, the 12th chapter. And we're gonna go to the 50th verse. 50th verse 50, and it says, "For whosoever, for whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother, my sister, and my mother." So that's basically the church, the body. That's what he was saying there, because you know the account, his biological mother and brothers. See, that's where it says in 58, and I mean Salakia on 47. Then the one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. So that's the account. His biological mother and brothers um was seeking to speak to Yahawashi, but you know, he said whoever does, Yahawashi made it clear that whoever does the will of Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, is his mother. Yahawashi is his mother, sister, and brother. So that's the body or the church, what he was referring to. So if you call anybody in the church without a cause, a fool, you know, a fool, or a useless person, or sinful, you're in danger of judgment. So that's what at Matthew's the 5th chapter and 22nd verse. That's what it was meaning there. That we're gonna get further understanding that it says also in go up to 30, the 36th chapter, 36th verse, and it says, But I say unto you that every idle word that a man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by the words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So that goes into that account. Whatever idle words thou shalt speak, if you speaking lies about your brethren, your fellow brethren, which is you get the understanding they're Israelites according to the flesh, which and primarily the elect or the body of YAHAWAHSHI, because also if you're doing the will of the Father, you're gonna be obeying His commandments. So not to get off topic, but that's what it's saying there. If you saying anything against your fellow brethren, um, without a cause, defaming him, saying he's sinful or useless, um, you're in danger of judgment. So I'm gonna see what it says in Luke, the 18th chapter, in the 18th verse. I think this goes into the commandments. So that verifies that he would. That's why Yahawah was calling the Pharisees at times fools. Foolish and viper and snake. We're gonna get into that because they weren't keeping the law, even though they was even though there was Israelites, they weren't keeping the customs and the laws of Yahweh. So he was calling them fools. So just the account of the rich man that was keeping the commandments, but he still didn't want to do the he didn't want to follow Yahweh Shai. So it says a certain ruler asked him, saying, "Good master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" And Yahweh Shai said unto him, "Why callest thou me good? None is good, save one, that is God, Yahweh. Thou knowest the commandments: do not commit adultery, do not kill, do not steal, do not bear false witness." See, that's a bearing false witness. That's defamation. You calling your brother um, um, a sinful, wicked person. Bearing false witness. And calling them useless for no cause. That's bearing false witness. And it says, "Honor thy mother and thy father." And he said also, and he said, "All these have I kept from my youth up." Now then Yahweh Shai heard these things, he said unto him, "Yet lackest thou one thing. Sell all that thou hast, and distribute unto the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come follow me." And when he heard this, he was very sorrowful, for he was very rich. So he didn't want to follow. He said he was doing the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, but he just didn't want to sell all his goods, which is the will of Yahweh, and follow Yahweh Shai. He didn't want to follow basically do the will of the Father. He said he was keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, but he didn't want to do the will of the Father by following Yahweh Shai and preaching the word, because he was rich and selling his goods because he was rich. So it's a part of it too. A part of it being the brethren is obeying the commandments, not to get off topic. And I think I got another one in John the 2nd chapter. I'm gonna see what it says there. John the 2nd chapter and the first verse. Hoping not to get off topic because the topic is about using profane language. It seems like I'm getting off topic here. Salakia. Yeah, we gonna get what is it, first John? Salakia. Yeah, I don't know. It was something else, Salakia, but not to get off topic, but what? Yeah, this account is using basically going into that what clearing up what was being meant there in Matthew 5:22. The brethren, which is the body. If you're following, you're following the law, statutes, and commandments of YAHAWAHSHI, YAHAWAHSHI. In this time we're following to the best of our ability, but during that time, that's who the brethren was. Following doing the will of YAHAWAHSHI, YAHAWAHSHI, and also following the commandments. You can't just go around calling your brethren names and basically, that's bearing false witness, calling them unholy and names like that he not. And it says, but in chapter 20, Slakia, but in chapter 23, he's pretty angry at the religious leaders. You blind fools, he shouts during a chapter long rant in Matthew chapter 23 and 17. He calls them hypocrites, snakes and vipers, everything as the saying goes, but the child of God. So we gonna go to see that was see that's what they don't have understanding is. See, it's okay to call someone what they is. If you're a fool, fool, that means ungodly, unholy, you know, and a snake and a viper. We gonna get the definition of that too, because basically those words, snakes, vipers, dog, that's equivalent to so-called curse words today. So we gonna get this account in Matthew 23 and 17, what was being said there. So that it's not what people say is a contradiction, because they don't have understanding. It was Matthew 23, Matthew 23 and 17, and it says, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start at 15. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you compass Salakia." I'm gonna start at Matthew 23 and 16. Woe unto you! Woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple is it is nothing, but whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that is sanctifieth the gold? It's like I'm gonna read that over. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifieth the gold? And whosoever shall swear by the altar is nothing, but whosoever sweareth by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gift or the altar that is sanctified, that sanctified the gift. So basically, that's what it was going to the seventh verse, 17th verse, when he was calling them fools, because they didn't have the understanding of what was greater. Was the temple greater or the gold greater that's being sanctified? You know, so that's why he was calling them fools. And it says, going to the 20th verse, it says, whosoever therefore shall swear by the altar sweareth by it and by all things thereon, and whosoever swear by the temple sweareth by it and by him that dwelleth therein. So if you swearing by the temple, which the temple is the heavenly, that refers to um the heavens, the heavenly body, and Yahweh. that dwelleth in the temple, you know. And he that shall swear by heaven sweareth by the throne of God and by him that sitteth thereon. So that's why he was calling them fools, because they didn't have the understanding of which one was greater. They were saying that the temple wasn't nothing but whatever you was trying to give as give as an offering was greater than the temple itself, or the or even Yahweh, the one that's on the throne, Yahweh. So that's why he was calling them, that's profane, that's unholy, so he was calling them fools, you know. So it's all right to call someone, you know, say insulting if it's that's the Messiah. Yeah, that was red letter. That was YAHAWAHSHI saying it. So how is it not okay for you to say something and like that, call someone a fool if it's justified in calling them a fool, but you just can't go around calling people what they're not. That's the difference. And I'm gonna read this over, and it says, but by chapter 23, he's pretty angry at the religious leaders. You blind fools, he shouts during a chapter long rant, Matthew 23 and 17. He calls them hypocrites, snakes, and vipers, everything as the saying goes, but a child of God. We all know that insulting people is incompatible with Christian teaching. See, this ain't Christianity is nothing has nothing to do with the Bible. So they want to get all sensitive about, just like their account in Matthew 23 and 17. They trying to get all sensitive about not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of YAHAWAHSHI, YAHAWAHSHI. They act like that's nothing, you know. Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments is nothing, but you saying a so-called profane word or so-called curse word is because they hear a lot the men, especially the men of GMS, time for sometimes rude language is being spoken, which they call profane or curse words, which I use myself. They look at you like you the worst person that walking on the face of the earth. He was the Lord YAHAWAHSHI, which they ignorantly call Jesus, um, done the same thing. Which we're gonna get into the definition of these words, snakes and vipers, and it says, we'll go and get to that now. What is a snake? The definition of a snake. So you get a definition of a snake. So we're gonna go to the second definition. It says a treacherous or deceitful person. You know, that's what a snake is. A treacherous and a deceitful person. It says vulgar. You go down here, it got vulgar language. And it says what? Shit. A piece of shit, basically. You call somebody a piece of shit. You know, that's what you call a snake. Like, cause they're good for nothing, man. Like a trickster, a fraudster, a treacherous, deceitful person, a deceiver. He's a piece of shit. You can't trust him. Swine, dog, weasel, which we're gonna go into these definitions. Same thing. Weasel means a deceitful, treacherous person. That's what this the language that YAHAWAHSHI was using to the Pharisees and certain other people that he was doing it rightfully so, righteously. It says dog, what? What a dog is, a female dog is a what? A bitch, they want to get offended when you say that. And our Lord and Savior YAHAWAHSHI, he he was using these same words. I mean, these same. He was using not the same words, but he was using in the same form, but in different words, man. You using these words in a different form. So that's what a snake and a viper is a deceitful person or a piece of crap. So like it. So basically, it's a piece of you call somebody a piece of crap. You know, So and it says what we gonna start. We gonna read this paragraph back over. I'm gonna read it back over. But by chapter 23, he's pretty angry at the religious leaders. You blind fools, he shouts during a chapter long rant. Matthew 23 and 17. He calls them hypocrites, snakes, and vipers. Everything, as the saying goes, but a child of God. We all know that insulting people is incompatible with Christian teaching. So we're gonna get in that word. What incompatible means basically means that the Christian church doesn't do this. Which that is what anti-Hamashiach, anti what they call anti-Christ, because they going on their own understanding and they do whatever they think is right instead of doing what the word says. So not compatible, in such as a incapable of associating or harmonious coexistence, incompatible color, unsuitable for use, to, unsuitable for use together because of undesirable chemical or psychological effect, incompatible. It's incompatible drugs. But it says incompatible
Incompatible.
of two things so opposed in character as to be incompatible, so like incapable of existing together. So they saying using this type of language, insulting people. You shouldn't be just going around insulting people. That's what not Yahweh. What YAHAWAHSHI wasn't doing that. He wasn't going around just insulting people for no reason. You know, he was insulting the scribes and Pharisees justifiably because that's what they were. They were snakes and they were deceitful. Deceitful and untrustworthy, man. And unholy. So that's what he was calling them. Unholy, profane. Profane words. Unholy. Calling them dogs, snakes, and vipers because that's what they were. That's what they was doing. They were doing it. They were doing the work of Yahweh deceitfully. So that's what was being done there. So they said, you, yes, it's obvious that you don't supposed to go around just insulting people for no reason. But if you do insult people justifiably, it's not a sin. It's not a sin to use harsh language or rude, what they call rude language in the scripture. I'm gonna get that too. He says, though I be rude in speech, but not in knowledge. So that's what the Messiah was doing. He was rude, and he might be rude in speech, but he's not rude in knowledge. It says 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, in the 6th verse, it says, "But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things." Which that's what the point was. But though I be rude in speech, that's using the like in this day what so called what people call curse words or profane. So you call someone a bitch, it's just equivalent to calling them a dog. So what's a female dog? It's a bitch. or you call someone, a SOB. That's also, if you get the definition of weasel, that's also, we gonna get that too. And what they say, weasel basically is a vulgar. So you look up the word weasel. In second definition, it says also a deceitful or treacherous person. You call them a weasel. And if you go down here and it says vulgar slang at the bottom, it says what? A SOB, you know.
SOB.
You call them a SOB, or a piece of what? Vulgar. Piece of feces. A piece of crap, That's the same thing he was using, or people was using in those terms in those days, man. They was calling people weasels, snakes, vipers, treacherous a piece of crap, equivalent to what these so-called curse words are today. Call somebody a SOB, a BITCH, a piece of crap. That's the same. The Messiah himself was using equivalent words when he was walking the earth. So that that that's nothing. That's nothing. Nothing sinful for doing that. So I know this video is longer than I wanted to be. I might put the link in this description box, but I think the point was made. And I know Salaki, if it was too long, I ain't want to make it this long. But I think I went off the subject. But I hope it was edifying. See, the Messiah himself was using um, so-called insulting people, calling them dogs, swine, you know, weasels, snakes. I mean, it's like calling them snakes and vipers. Fools. The Messiah and called. I know he called. What is it? Herod. He called him a. He called him a fox. I think that's down here. They go into that. Uh, and a fox is the same thing as a deceitful person. Yeah, right here. And when we gonna go into that too before I close out. It says Fox, when some Pharisees came to warn YAHAWAHSHI that King Herod wanted him dead, YAHAWAHSHI said in the audacity of Salakia, this Salakia, YAHAWAHSHI had the audacity to say, which they said the courage, which he was talking in boldness according to the word, go and tell that fox for me, Luke chapter 13 and 32. This insult hasn't changed. This insult hasn't changed its meaning much. It still means sly, cunning, or crafty, but we often use it as a compliment. In Yahawah's day, among more uh, Gar Garian folks, calling someone a fox was more like calling them a weasel. We just got the definition of that, like a piece of shit, or son of a bitch. Salakia, SOB. Since king, since kings prefer to be compared to lions and eagles, calling Herod a fox would likely have been enough to get killed. It's unlikely that Yahweh's Pharisee friends would have taken the message back to Herod word for word. You know, that's what he's saying. But just the point there, he called Herod a fox. We can get a definition of that, was what fox was an insult in those times. Like calling someone you know, a so-called curse word today. Where it says the second definition says a cunning or sly person. See if so basically it's the same thing as being deceitful. I think I said fox insult. So it said right here, it said they're sneaky, so a fox can also be a tricky person, you know. Let me see. No, that's not. Basically, I'm not gonna. But basically, it's the same thing, you know. Being sneaky, deceitful, calling them a piece of crap. Basically, it's the same thing. Using slang to call. He called Herod. YAHAWAHSHI called Herod at that time a fox. Calling it's basically deceitful. A piece of crap, piece of the same, a sob, the same language that's used here today, but in a and just using different words, the same meaning. So it says even those words, what he says there, even words like calling the king, calling a king, those words in those days, more or less, will probably get a person killed. You know, so it's lucky because this lesson was longer than I wanted. But we got hopefully the point was made. You know, calling people vile. Fools. Yeah, justifiably. Yeah, Howard Shad was justifying using those words, which is equivalent to the so-called curse words or so-called profane words today. Which we got the definition of profane and curse. People don't look up the meaning of words, so they have no understanding for real. And I want to go ahead and cut this lesson short because it's longer than what I want it to be. And I want to say, call Halayim La Yahawah by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders again. And Shalom to the next time, Yahweh Ratazah, which means Lord willing, and Wah Abba Babal.